Hello, Sylvie Simon.
Hello, Lilou.
Thank you for accepting this interview in English about the Indigo Child.
Yes, well, in France it's not very well known, you know. The American and the Canadians especially know them very well, and it's when you say indigo, it's not awful there. But in France, they consider that as a sect, you know. Well, in France we got a sectomany, which is mad, you know.
But you've written a book about the Indigo Child. What are their characteristics?
Well, again, you know, throughout history, you know, it always has existed difficult, rebellious children, always in revolt against the world of adults, and the order they impose. Children who refuse to obey, eat, sleep, all that. But now, these exceptions have become almost the rule, you know. Well, I would say nearly 3/4 of the children are like that, you know. And many of the parents, and this is awful, you know, consult a psychiatrist in the hope of understanding what's going in the head of their little darling, you know. And they're scared. Well, for the parents, they're not normal. Mm-hmm. And now, they become a reality, you know. They become normal instead of the other ones.
But they are born with a special sense very early at a young age. They know some things that are shocking to the parents.
Oh yes, of course, you know, and the parents, well, you know, most of the parents want their children to be the best in everything, you know, the first in the school, the most beautiful, the most clever and all that, and they don't care about that. They don't care at all. But you know, well, in the States, for instance, you know, it's millions of children who are treated with Ritalin or similar drugs, with the aim of controlling behavior patterns, you know, and they never find any medical cause to that, but they treat it with that Ritalin, and that is awful, you know, and the same in England, you know. And in France, they do the same, but they don't speak about it. You know?
Mm-hmm. Well, so what can we learn about those children?
The problem?
What can we learn from those children?
Well, the children are, how could I say that? They're different. They're quite different. And the parents are, when they're not aware of that, you know, they are puzzled with their children. They say, well, did I create a child who is not normal? This is their problem, you know. It doesn't come it doesn't fit with the other ones. Mm-hmm. He's the last in class. It doesn't work. He's always in revolt and all that. Well, so it's two kinds of parents. Some parents, think it's very interesting and they start listening to the children. And some other, they just don't know and go to a doctor. And most of the time to a psychiatrist, you know. And when they go to a psychiatrist, they're awful, you know. It's awful because they give them all these things like Prozac or Ritalin and that. And it's finished. I mean, these children are, they lost except if suddenly the parents meet someone else having the same problem and they say, after all, we can talk about that. But most of them, they're not aware of that, you know. And they're of their children, who are not normal, as we call normal, you know.
But they would really incarnate what it is, what are the new human beings on the planet that are most needed right now for the evolution.
Well, I think that they come on the Earth now because we got to evolve, you know. I mean, we got to have an evolution, and we cannot live as we used to live since a lot of time, especially the last century, you know. Mm-hmm. So, they come now, I think, and I'm not the only one to think so, I think, to help people to evolve, because they got another consciousness, they got another paradigm about the world. You know, they don't see the world as we do. We see the world as, well, we are there to be the best, to be the strongest, and to be very successful in the money matters and all that. They don't care about money at all. They don't care about power at all, you know. They just want to live and be happy on a earth which is safe, and they talk to the trees, they talk to the birds, they talk to the insects and all that, you know, and they are very, very, very peaceful, which is very important, because, I mean, we must stop, you know, I mean, to have that view of the world. Everyone not like you is an enemy, you know. This is the world we live in now.
And what is your view of the world that we live in right now?
Yes.
What is yours?
Oh, what's my what?
What's your view of the world right now?
Oh, well, you know, I think the world is well, we started the evolution, you know. You know the story of the 100 monkey. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I think this is what is happening now. We you know, to change the world, we don't need to be half of it, you know. Not like in election. We must be just half plus one is enough to change. I think with 5% of the humanity changing their mind,
their consciousness, yeah.
Your consciousness, exactly. Well, all the world can change. Mm-hmm. But you know. So I think these children, you know, are really coming on the right time to make the world changing, because as they're not, how could I say, stuck up to the old world as we are. Well, the adult, most of the adults, except some who are, how could I say, with a special consciousness, you know. All the other ones are just so busy with going to the world, making money, living with all the taxes problem and all that, you know. They don't have time to think. And these children, not wanting all that, you know, they have time to think, to observe the world, and to realize that the world is not going on, you know. I mean, we're going to either we change by our own will. Otherwise, I mean, the earth will reject us, because we are making we are, how could I say, the worst predator of the world. You know, the man, human being, is a cancer for the earth. Mm. And so, I mean, the earth has got to, well, the earth can go on without the man, but men cannot live if they don't have another, if the earth doesn't want them, you know. If they go on spoiling it as we do with everything, I mean, you know all the predation of that, well, we must change. So I think these children wanting to change, or really, they're not ready to change, they're already on another consciousness. So I think, you know, we are near the reverse of the thinking of the world. Mm-hmm. And I think that will help us very, very, very much. So they are very important, and it's very important to tell them that we trust them, that we listen to them, and they're not proud, you know, in the way of saying I'm the best, the best. No, they just want to explain us, most of them, that we should live differently. Yeah. Yeah. And the important is to listen to them and not to say, well, they're children, you know, they don't know, they're too young. Well, no, because most of the mothers I met told me, I always feel like if I have a baby corpse in a elder person mind. You know, the mind is much, much older than the body.
Oh, yeah. They look very wise. They have in their eyes you can see
exactly.
More.
And even their eyes, you know, sometimes I watch in the metro or in the buses and in the street, the regard, the look of the eyes of the children. Mm-hmm. They've got eyes like an old, old man or woman, you know, with kind of wisdom, plenty of wisdom in them. And they are in the body of babies, you know. Yeah. This is what is very, very funny.
And they're especially needed as we're going towards 2012. They are even more important right now as we're going towards 2012, which seems to be a shift in consciousness in the world.
Yes, well, I think this is why, the income, there are income now to help us passing this thing, because all the things, terrible things that people are saying about 2012, it's the end of the world and all that. No, it's not the end of the world. It's the end of a world, a special world where we live now, and it will be a different world. And I think if these children are coming now, it's to help us passing this kind of gate, and I don't think that 2012 will be the end of the world. We are now, in all those horror, people are starving in half the world. The other half the world is dying of eating too much and eating very badly and all that. It's wars all over the place, all over the planet. It's, the earth is quaking all over the planet as well. There's plenty of tsunami, much more than ever. All that, the earth is very, very angry with us, which is normal. And I think that 2012 will be like, like the shining of the rainbow, after the storm. And we are in the storm now. It's not 2012 which will be the storm, it's now. And I think then, in that year, with all the beliefs of the Maya and all that, and of even the Catholic, if we change in the mind of the humanitarian, will be on another vibration. The vibrations are changing, and it's a change of the world. And those children will help us to do that. I think it's very, very, very important.
And do you think Indigo Child can wake up as adults and realize that they're part of that? Or, do you realize that you can open up to that consciousness later on, and all of a sudden the indigo part of you wakes up?
Oh, yes. Yes, but the problem is that the parents of the indigo will follow the children, and plenty of them are not conscious of that. This is the problem. This is why they should be woken to that. One day I made a big conference in a town, and in the first row of the listener, it was a woman crying and crying and crying all the time. And during the time I was speaking, I thought, well, what am I saying? Which makes her so crying? And after the conference, she came to me and she said, she was very young, and she said, now I believe I am an indigo, because everything you said about them, I feel that. And I've been considered as a mad woman, as being stupid, silly. My parents took me to many, many doctors and psychiatrists and all that, and they all said, well, I was not normal. And then I escaped my parents and got married at 18 with a man who was worse, and kept on saying, you're abnormal. And plenty of my friends told me, you're not normal. And now you're telling me I'm normal. It's fantastic, and she was so pleased with that, And she told me, you changed my life just by telling me that other people are like me. And she wasn't lucky because she never met anyone like her.
Yeah, what a relief. I think that's part of your... that's why you've written a book about it, and that's why you talk about it, is so that it can be seen as something great, and other people can recognize themselves and therefore even be of more help here on the planet.
Exactly.
Well, thank you very much, Sylvie Simon, for your great work.
Well, thank you to you, Lilou. You are making a great work as well. Our business, our duty, not business, duty is to give the information, and everyone after they take it or not take it, depending on their consciousness.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much anyway.
Thank you.
Thinking about how organic original beings are at this time and have been for some time, for the past few thousand years or so, living in carbon form, and that now that the Aquarian age is upon us, we are supposed to be going from the carbon bodies into the crystalline bodies. And when I thought about it, I was like, oh, okay. So, for instance, like a diamond is made of carbon, but in order to get to the diamond, you have to pressurize the carbon. And once pressurized, then that carbon turns into the diamond, and it transforms into that diamond. So when you get the diamond, it's no longer in the coarse, raw carbon form that it was in, but it turns into this refined, shiny, clear diamond form. So the same with these bodies, going from carbon to crystalline. So the diamond would be, I guess, thinking of crystals, diamonds, similar gem type forms or whatever. So going from the carbon, the more coarse, heavier, thick carbon, into the lighter, yet still somewhat of a earthy form, but a lighter, more pristine, more precious, refined body, which would be that crystalline body or that diamond type body. So I see with it, I see the what the change would be, or how to see it by using that particular example, or seeing the pressurized change of the carbon into a crystalline form or diamond form. That would be the same thing that's happening with these bodies. I'm just thinking it through, so to make it more clear to myself what's happening and what these changes mean for our bodies, and the transformation and transmutation from one form to another. Still a body, and still an, I guess, somewhat earthy form, but a lighter, more pristine form. What do you think?